Well, tax expert Bruce Benecke joins me now. Bruce, what do you make of the possibility of Labor taking the GST off fruit and veggies?
Well, look, Alice, I don't think it's a complete surprise. I mean, people have been speculating that Labor might come out with this as an election tax policy, but I'm not a fan of the idea, and that's for a couple of reasons. Firstly, if your goal is to assist low-income families with food affordability, there are better ways to achieve that. And secondly, look, we have one of the best GST systems in the world. It's efficient, it's simple, easy to comply with. And as soon as you start introducing exemptions from GST, that just introduces a range of complexity and business compliance costs. And so it's just not a good idea in my view.
Te Pāti Māori says that it would go even further, removing the GST from all food. Is that a good idea?
Again, I'm just simply not a fan of that idea. So the idea of exempting food from GST was looked at extensively by the Tax Working Group back in 2018, and that was a Labor set-up group to look at the entire tax system. And they concluded quite rightly that it's not a good idea if you want to assist low-income families. And that's because if you remove GST on food, everybody benefits. And indeed, high-income earners benefit more because they simply spend more on food. And so the analysis done back then was that if you remove GST on food, low-income families benefit by $14 a week, and your high-income families benefit by $53 a week. So if you really want to help low-income families out, the $3 billion that would be taken off the GST bill of the nation as a result would be more appropriately directed through increased welfare payments or income tax reductions to actually put income and more money in people's pockets to help them afford the food in the first place.
Yeah, what do you think would be a better option?
I think exactly that. If you really want to help out low-income families, let's take a look at the ideas of income tax-free thresholds or adjusting the income tax brackets, which haven't moved since 2010, and at the very least indexing them for inflation, so that people have more money in their pockets to deal with the increased cost of living, and again, targeting those people who really need the help rather than assisting the wealthy people enjoying, removal of GST on their champagne and caviar.
Te Pāti Māori has also pitched that income tax-free threshold of $30,000 by using a wealth tax and a raft of other taxes. What do you make of that?
Look, I can't overemphasise what a terrible idea this would be. Look, if you want to bankrupt the country, let's go with this plan. So their policy comes with $3 billion of tax costs from removing GST on food and nearly $14 billion of cost in introducing a $30,000 tax-free threshold. And that will be paid for in part by a wealth tax, which the plan is to raise $23 billion from, which is never going to happen. So with the never-released Labor Party policy that was being worked on up until the budget, they were thinking a wealth tax might generate $3 to $4 billion a year. So the idea of generating $23 billion is quite frankly fanciful. Wealth taxes don't work. There were 12 countries that had wealth taxes back in 1990, and only 3 countries in the world are left with them now because they don't work. They are very complicated to administer, very hard to work out people's wealth, and quite frankly, wealthy people have the ability to pack up and leave. I mean, I've done the calculations. Someone worth $20 million would be faced with a wealth tax bill of $1 million a year under Te Pāti Māori's proposal. They could simply hop on a plane to Sydney, still be worth their $20 million and pay nothing. And that seems to me like a very high price to pay for the benefit of living in New Zealand.
Bruce Benecke, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.